Welcome back to Master Your Glass with me, Livio Lauro. Today's guest is Matt Booth. I cannot wait for him to arrive because we're going to talk about his gin. We're going to talk a little bit about his jewelry. He's also a cigar roller. He's a jack of all trades. But with no further ado, I bring to you Matt Booth.
Hi, Livio.
Hi, how are you?
My pleasure to be here.
No, my pleasure to have you here. Truly my honor. So, just for the people out there, before we jump right into much about it, if this is the first time you're watching this show, my name is Livio. For 30 years, I've been helping bars, restaurants, liquor brands improve what they do and improve what they serve. But on this show here, we make cocktails in my living room just for people like you so that you can drink better, and perhaps the cocktails you drink at home are better than the ones that you drink at the restaurant. But with no further ado, let's chat, my friend.
So you're saying you're promoting that people should become better drinkers?
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they should. And the restaurants they drink at sometimes make really cool cocktails, but as you know, sometimes they also don't. So
Correct.
No matter where you're going, we want this place, your house, to have the best drinks that you can think of. So let's talk about this bad boy before we get too far away.
Don't mind if we do.
Yeah, so first and foremost, you make jewelry,
Yes, I do.
you roll cigars.
That's correct.
Is that an understatement, or is rolling cigars like a good...
Well, I blend,
You blend.
and create the trade dress for all of our products.
Awesome. And then what is your involvement with Room 101 Gin?
So I participate in the blending process, as well as obviously lend my hand in design to all the packaging, the brand product aesthetic, as well as support all the marketing efforts.
That's awesome. And what are the botanicals in here?
So we have Japanese cherry blossom in a very minimal sense, but it's obviously so we're not lying to people when we say it's in there. We have fresh lime, lemon, and orange peel, as well as lavender superior, cardamom, allspice.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what I think we should do today is I'll make you 3 cocktails
Perfect.
with Room 101. I'll make you one that's really low in alcohol, easy to drink. You know, sessionable is the word of the day, I guess, that we use.
That's a cool word.
Sessionable. That means you can have 7 of them.
Okay.
Then the next one we'll make is something a little more swanky, but a little medium in alcohol. We'll make you a white lady. And then last but not least, we'll make a Negroni, because the Negroni is, I believe, where the cocktail world begins.
The base.
Let's do it. Okay.
Sessionable.
Sessionable, exactly.
Okay.
So the first thing I'll do here is...
When did they start using this term, sessionable?
It's more of a beer term.
A beer term.
It's a beer term.
Okay.
Beers are sessionable, yeah.
Okay.
And it comes from actually the session IPAs,
Yeah.
which are,
Okay.
again, supposed to be those sessionable style of beers.
Okay.
So in this G&T right here, while we're making it in a tall glass, we are going to make it what we like to call Spanish style. In Spanish, in the Spanish G&Ts are a little lower in gin and
Okay.
more in tonic.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to put 1 ounce, 30 mils of Room 101 gin, just like that. And then set that bad boy right there. And then I'm going to put what is going to be roughly 5 ounces of tonic water, right? And it's funny, you and I have a mutual friend, Carrie Mano.
That is correct.
That works for Fever Tree.
What's up, Carrie?
That's awesome. That is awesome. And then I'm going to give this a little stir like that. OCD is kicking in. I need to add another cube in there. And I'll set that right over there. And then I'm going to just take a lime wheel. And I'm going to set it just like that. Okay? So there's drink number 1. I'll set it there. Okay, so the next one we're going to make is a nice white lady. For that, we will need a shaker, a tin, and a glass. And I am going to also need a couple of these things. Okay, so the white lady requires 1.5 ounces of Room 101 gin. Looking forward to it. Of course, this is going to be with all the citrus notes and all the citrus that you have in your gin. All 3 of these are real no-brainers. They're garnished with citrus because they want citrus, and so match made in heaven. We are going to do half of that amount, which is 75 milliliters. I'm sorry, 3/4 of an ounce of Cointreau, or your favorite triple sec. we go. And lastly, we're gonna also do 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. That should get us there. Let's go ahead and put 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. Yeah, baby. Okay. All right, now one of the other ingredients, they don't always put it in, but I like to put a little egg white, frothing it up, especially if you're trying to make it sessionable. So this is gonna be 3/4 of an ounce of egg white.
I think I want everything in my life to be sessionable. Sounds very pleasant.
I
Highly
agree.
manageable.
I agree.
But in a pleasant fashion.
I agree. Yeah. So, and then after, what I would love to know is how you make it at home, right? How do you drink your gin at home? Mm-hmm. So what I did here is a dry shake.
Okay.
That means I just basically shook it without the ice, right? And then what we're gonna do now is what we call a wet shake. All right, and again. Yeah, baby.
So, riddle me this. Mm-hmm. What's the purpose for going dry and wet?
So you want to emulsify more.
Okay.
So you're trying to emulsify, but you're trying not to actually dilute as much.
Okay.
So if you sit here with ice and you shake for 30 seconds, you're adding more water than you probably want to.
True.
So you cut it in half.
Balance.
And now that is also, it all obviously depends on how you like your drink, because some people might like their white lady to be more sessionable. Right? Mm-hmm. And so when that happens, we get this nice little creamy little texture.
It's an attractive beverage.
You like?
Yeah.
All right. Now I am being a little lazy on this one, and I have this dehydrated lime.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna throw it right there because it's easy.
Very nice.
There we go. So we'll take this guy, we'll put these over here. Wait, I'm jealous about your hair, just so you know. I mean, I once had hair just like that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, Thank you. But hey, we don't always get it. I am excited to make you the last cocktail, which is my personal favorite. It's called the Negroni, and Beautiful. I'm sure you've had one or two in your life before.
I'm partial.
We will take 1 ounce of Room 101 gin. Now this drink could be made in so many different ways, but the reality is it's an Italian kind of sidewalk cafe cocktail. Mm-hmm. And in Italian sidewalk cafes, there's not a whole lot of time for mixing glasses and stirring and straining. So in most places, it's just built exactly like I'm making it now. Equal parts over ice. All you need is a spoon and you're ready to go.
There you go.
So that's kind of the unique thing of vintage Italian cocktails, is that they're all just a bar spoon away. There's no fancy anything. I should have cracked this open earlier. There we go. And there we go. Now, where do you live, Matt?
Currently Spokane, Washington.
Spokane, Washington.
I was downtown Los Angeles for years.
I remember. I knew you were Los Angeles based at some point. Okay. And what brought you to the move?
Family.
Family.
Be closer to my mother. Help take care of her.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How old is Mom?
Life comes full circle. She's 75.
Oh, very nice. Thank you for that.
Citrus drop.
Yep.
Oh my.
We're gonna keep on doing that, aren't we?
Wow.
There we go.
Yeah, so that's the reason. But we still manufacture all of our jewelry, 7th and Broadway downtown.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna give this a little stir just like that. Okay.
Looks very inviting.
And the orange in the Negroni, it's a whole historical thing. It's geeky, it's weird, it doesn't have to happen, but typically the slice gets tucked in between the ice cube and the glass.
Okay.
That was how the bartenders in Italy recognized the difference between the Negroni and the Americano, which were very similar. The Americano had the lemon.
Okay.
The Negroni had the orange.
Interesting.
So I'm super excited about having you try these. Tell me what you think, please.
Okay. Sweet.
They're very
just go for
sessionable,
it.
yeah.
This is a full-on sessionable situation. Perfect. Okay. That's great, man.
Like it?
Yeah, it's well balanced. Easy does it, right?
Thank you. Would you...
Clean and crisp.
Good. Would you be able to have more than one of those?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Okay, now this guy. No, that's actually super easy does it.
Thank
In
you.
all fairness,
Yeah.
For Series C's.
Right, right.
Yeah. I was very interested to try this one, by the way. Cool.
Very cool.
This is like something like a fancy lady would drink, maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
You would think,
Hat.
yeah. Yep.
Sunday brunch, the girlfriends.
Absolutely. It's
I
funny
think
because
it's
it's in a
that vibe.
martini glass, you would think it's not a brunchable drink, but it really is.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
It's upbeat. It's also crisp, light, you know. Feels like the sun's coming down on you when you ingest that.
Now it's time for dinner.
Okay. Now, yeah. Wow. Very cool.
Very, very cool.
Very cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Now, in all fairness, I haven't had a Negroni mixed this way. And I suppose that would be because I order my Negronis in the United States. But this is very different. The Campari comes through, right? But it's great.
Awesome, awesome. Man, the Negroni is one of those, right, where we say equal parts gin, Campari, sweet vermouth. We say make it on the rocks. All these things. But the reality is I can't find one combination of these three ingredients that would actually be wrong.
Okay.
Right? If you over vermouth your Negroni, you might not necessarily like it that way, but it's still a great drink. And then
But
all
someone
those,
else, it may be their.
it might be their
Their
jam.
new fave.
Absolutely. And we also say equal parts out of convenience, but sometimes, with a gin that's a little bit more citrusy, maybe you do want to add a little more gin and back off the vermouth or the Campari. But that's why this world of cocktails is so amazing. How do you drink Room 101 at home?
So, I enjoy drinking it neat.
Neat.
I enjoy drinking it neat, not only because I simply enjoy it personally on a personal level, but it's also in line with the way that I monitor our production for some of our other products, the consistency, right?
Gotcha.
You want to remain intimately familiar, right?
Wow, that's
Different
such-
batches, different things like that. So you are drinking for enjoyment, and at the same time, you also have to put your work hat on. Sometimes I find that I like to drink other people's gin to just experience it and enjoy it versus not having that other dynamic, right? Of having to police my product. I still enjoy it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I saw the concern, and I genuinely appreciate that. But I do enjoy myself. I like to drink it neat. I do drink gin and tonic. I keep it very clean, very simple.
Very cool. Very cool.
And crisp.
I love it. So I think that if I got anything out of this for people at home and for me is when you're learning a product, neat is a really good way to do it.
100%.
And make sure you're comparing with others. That way you're actually understanding what citrusy means versus juniper forward versus peppery versus all of that. The only way you can do that is actually by trying more than one. Dude, I appreciate you being on the show. You're like one of the coolest people I know, or I know now, and I'm happy you were here on Master Your Glass. And if you did like this episode, please do consider giving us a like, subscribing, smashing that bell so that you get notified every time, and you can have more of expert instruction for everyday consumption.